It's been a week of renewed hope for many people in England.
We cannot persist indefinitely with restrictions that have separated families and loved ones for too long, kept pupils out of school.
An answer to the when and how life will creep back to normality.
Thanks to the vaccinations, there is light ahead.
But for families with children who are clinically extremely vulnerable but unable to get the vaccine, their roadmap is less clear.
I was expecting that there would be some news for us. And when I listened to the announcement, I listened to everything. I sat there for 3 hours listening to it all, hoping that somebody might ask the question, what's happening to children who are shielding? And in the same week that we were told to carry on shielding and don't send her back to school, I had to sit and watch 3 hours of people saying how wonderful it is, hope's on the horizon. Every child matters, every child's going to go back to school, it's so important they all go back to school. And we got a letter saying don't send her back to school, and also she can't get the vaccine.
Evie's 13-year-old daughter, Catherine, has Down syndrome and respiratory issues that mean she needs a ventilator at night. Conditions that make her extremely vulnerable to viruses and have put her in intensive care before. But because the vaccine isn't approved for children, she's been unable to get it, despite the guidance allowing for the vaccine to be given off licence in some exceptional cases, and Catherine's doctors saying she should be vaccinated.
If we're relying on the vaccine being approved for children, that's a deadline. I don't know how far away that is. But what happens if it isn't approved? What do we do then? So we don't know.
Some people will think, well, it hasn't yet been tested on children, so surely we need to wait.
With all of these things, there's always a balance. And you're always looking at all the risks. Where are the risks? And you have to consider what the balance is. I equate it to getting a phone call from your teenage child who's running down the road because there's a madman chasing them with a knife, and you have to decide whether to tell them to run across a busy road or not. And if you say don't cross the road, how long have they got to run for? And that's what it's like. It's like, how long do we have to go on for until we know there's an answer?
The charity Contact, which supports families with disabled children, say there are over 60,000 children on the shielding list in the UK at the moment.
Families of clinically extremely vulnerable children can feel completely in the dark. They've been shielding now for more than a year. Children have gone without health appointments. They've gone without therapies. It's a really desperate situation. Families deserve to understand when the vaccine for children will be available. They need a roadmap out of lockdown like other families.
The Royal College of Paediatrics say children over the age of 12 with specific vulnerabilities should be eligible for the vaccine now, but there's still hope of more freedom for those who aren't.
I think there is an end in sight for these families because once there is a broad vaccination across the adult population, community transmission will drop. Hopefully we will have some more data on vaccination in children. So I think the message should be that there is light at the end of the tunnel, that there is a plan, and that this isn't going to go on forever.
Evie welcomes the news this week that her other children can go back to school soon. But while transmission is still high, she knows the risk to Catherine that comes with that. She hopes that, like the decision earlier this week to allow all adults with severe learning disabilities to get a priority vaccine, the same common sense will be applied to Catherine and other extremely clinically vulnerable teenagers like her.
And you miss everyone?
Yes.
Will you be happy when you can go back to school?
I will be.